Hey, I'm about to do some little mini ribs. They are going to be infused with orange zest and fresh orange juice. So I guess you could kind of call them uh, orange barbecue ribs. I love using the flavors of pineapple or orange, but it's specifically orange because I can use the zest of the orange. And I like to do that in cakes, box cakes, homemade cakes, meats, you name it. So stick around for my orange barbecue ribs. All right, so here are my ingredients. You see there's not that many. These are those little ribs I was telling you about. I go to this little store and it's got, I have to do a vlog on it one day. It's here in downtown Baltimore and they have little packs of meat like this. You can get, you know, pork chops with the bone in or the bone out, steaks, lamb chops, all kinds of meats, and it's not in a huge package. This is actually not a huge package. It is, how many pounds is this? Let's see. It's only about a pound and a half. But they're little, see how they've chopped them into little, they're not short ribs, but it says spare rib end cut. So the kind of little tips of the spare rib, which is perfect, I think, for, kids or even adults. If you don't want a whole big rib, you can just, in portion control, you can just get a little rib or two or three and, snack on them or have them for dinner, a couple on your plate or whatever. But this is what's going to be my ribs. They are pork ribs. You can use beef ribs, any kind of ribs you want. I have an orange, and I'm also going to use the zest of the orange as well as the juice, an onion for flavor, and have a little bit of mesquite barbecue sauce left. You can use, this is what I had left in my refrigerator. But I use any kind of barbecue sauce. I've used like just about every kind of barbecue sauce they've got on the market. If I see it and if it's on sale, or even if it's not on sale but I want it, but most of the times when it's on sale, that's when I get a particular kind. So, um, craft, this brand, that brand, it really doesn't matter to me. There's only maybe like one or two brands of barbecue sauce I don't like. And I have a little Lawry's, some Mrs. Dash garlic and herb, and some onion powder to season my little ribs. If you are not using any salt-free, any Mrs. Dash, make sure you have some cracked black pepper or just pepper. So that's what I'm going to use. You see, it's not really that expensive. So I've got some leftover collard greens that I'm going to have with these. You guys, if I know I'm new, but when you start watching, if you start watching my blogs, you'll hear me keep talking about how I have these collard greens that I make. I say, oh, I make a big batch of collard greens and put them in my freezer. I'm always talking about greens in my freezer, so I have some of those left, and I have some of that mac and cheese left that I made in a previous vlog that if it's not up, I'll be getting it up soon. But you can also have, whatever you want to have with this coleslaw. Um, and I don't know. I was thinking about coleslaw, but nah. Like making like an Asian slaw with this, with the orange, citrus orange barbecue ribs. But that's going to be for another time when I make kind of like an Asian rib. But yeah, I've got leftover that, and I've got some leftover cornbread that I'm going to have with this. So, um, I could do these ribs in the air fryer. I don't know. Or the oven. You can also do it in a, what is that? That little pressure pot. You guys know what I'm talking about. The damn pot that's pressure cooks everything. Sorry, it's been a long week. Seriously. But you could do this in the air fryer. You could do this in your, pot, pressure cooking pot. You could do it in a stock pot. You could put it in a little Dutch oven and put it inside the oven and cook it that way. I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to do them, but however I'm going to do them, these wings are going to be so sticky, barbecuey, orangey, and delicious. And they're going to go perfect with all of those leftover sides and that leftover cornbread. So orange, I guess that's what I'm calling them. Orange barbecue ribs. Little orange barbecue ribs. I don't know, sticky citrus barbecue rib. Whatever. I don't. By the time I, get this vlog together and export the video, I will have come up with a title, which you should see before this video, because I'm recording it now, but once I export it, I'm going to do a title. So, just don't pay me any attention. But orange barbecue ribs, mini ribs, coming up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting my channel. Here goes. All right, I've got some onion and oil going in a pan in my crock pot, because I'm going to sear these little short, I guess they call them little short ribs. I don't know. They're so short, but they're really cute. But anyway, I meant to season these last night like I do chicken wings, or just, bone-in chicken pieces. Leave it in my refrigerator seasoned in the bag with onion and carrots, and, let it kind of marinate. But this has been a super busy weekend, and I totally forgot about these ribs. So I'm going to season them now. So I just took them out and put them on a plate. They've been washed, they've been patted dry, and they're kind of at room temperature. They're not like super cold, but I'm just going to put little Lawry's on them, whatever kind of seasoned salt you use. I want to make sure they're well salted, but not, super salty. And a little pepper. In fact, I'm just going to sprinkle the cracked black pepper on there, and a little onion powder. I'm not doing salt-free, interestingly enough. Wow. But anyway, so like I said, I usually will, let those be taking these out of a bag because they've, marinated, but this has been, one of those weekends, where you do like you're doing like 10,000 things. Let me wash my hands. So, I don't know. Anyway, so while they are kind of hanging out, I've got my pan. So I've got my little crock pot. I've got some onion in there. I'm not worried about how the onion looks because I'm just using the onion for flavor. And I'm not going to actually have it in the dish, but there's a little olive oil in there. The heat is high. I want to get a nice sear on these little little cuties. Alright. Wash my hands with a little antibacterial soap. And whenever you touch raw meat, you always want to wash your hands. This heat is high, and I just want to get a really good sear on the meat. Look at that onion. Look how that onion caramelized. I love that. I know I said caramelize a lot. You guys are probably like so tired of me saying that. Make sure that each rib is kind of, like this, so that you can sear them really good on, on each side. So, yeah, that's a little better, right? And a little bit more onion powder, just a little. I think I have enough pepper, but this one needs a little bit more, and that one does, so that's good. And I'm just going to do another little fairy dusting of the Lorry. Not a lot. And I want you to see my heat. My heat's like that. So, not too high, but definitely not low. So my heat is high, but it's not, like on the higher. You want to hear that sizzle? I'm going to let that go for about another minute on this side. It smells so good. It smells so good. Alright, so let's check. Nope. I'm going to turn my heat up a little teeny bit more. Just a smidgen. Like that. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And you know what? A little smoky paprika. Just a little. That's about it. You see, I didn't use that much, just a little light dusting of paprika on there. And you just want to flip them fairly quickly and make sure you get that sear. That's looking good. Make sure you get that sear all over, front and back. Okay, those are looking really good, and I'm just going to get a little of the paprika more on this side because I didn't season this side. So just a little tiny dusting. But those are getting a really nice sear on them. Oh, that one looks really good. Look at that. So I'm gonna let this go for another minute or two and get the other side seared. And then I'm gonna just get them, you know, a little bit of liquid into my crock pot, and these are gonna hang out in my crock pot for a couple of hours to get nice and tender. And then I'm going to make my sauce, my orange barbecue glazed sauce. Because these are essentially something that has the ribs have to go low and slow. Any type of, you know, beef roast, pork roast, shoulder, ribs. You know, it'd be nice if you could just cook them like this and they'd be done until they're done, and then just add your sauce, but they'll be tough as hell. So I'm gonna let this go for another minute and a half, and I will be back and have this settled into my crock pot or my crock pot base. So smells so good. Oh, look at that caramelization. I know I said that word again. But those are looking really good. Awesome. All right, guys. So those are really nicely seared. I don't have any complaints. They're on my crock pot base. And I'm just about to add a little liquid to these. I'm not gonna, like, you know, immerse these in liquid, but and you know, some people like to do broth. For me, I'm cutting down on salt. So you see, I didn't, you know, they're not swimming. I don't have water all the way up the top, but they are covered with the liquid. I've taken the onion out. You can leave the onion in if you want, but I'm not going to need the onion anymore. I've already infused enough flavor of onion in there that I wanted. And I just wanted, you know, a little flavor of onion because onion adds flavor to everything. So these are ready to just, you know, hang out in the crock pot for a couple hours. I have them on kind of like a medium low, like on 3. I have this really old school crock pot, but if you've got, you know, the modern day crock pot, I do have a modern day crock pot, but it's super big. So this is a really good size for when I'm not making a lot, you know, huge pieces of meat or a lot of soup or a lot of this or that. It's a perfect size for making stuff for 1 or 2, I would say up to 3 or 4 people. So I'm using this small crock pot. Okay, so this crock pot is on low. These are good to go. They are ready to just, you know, hang out and get nice and tender. And in the meantime, I'm going to make my sauce. And my sauce I can make that ahead of time and let it just hang out on my stove. It's not going to go bad or anything like that. I'm using orange zest, orange juice, fresh orange juice, and barbecue sauce. And a little bit of onion powder and garlic seasoning, but I'm going to do that and push that to the side. So I'll be back to make the sauce. And just going to let this go for a couple hours. It's on low. You could do it on high and have it be done in less time. I like for things like this to go low and slow. It's a Sunday. It's not like I don't have the time. I love crock pots because you can just, or, you know, ovens, but especially crock pots because you can just put your food in there, you know, well seasoned to just take care of it a little bit. You do have to put a little bit of love into it, but you can just kind of let it go and hang out, and you can, you know, take a nap. You can do other things. You can even leave the house and run some errands or something like that. So let this hang out, and I'm going to make my sauce next, my orange barbecue glaze next. All right, y'all, so let's check on these ribs. I've had these ribs on since, I would say, about 9 o'clock this morning. So it's now almost 5 o'clock. So they've been in here on kind of like a medium low from almost 9 to 5. Working 9 to 5. What a way to get your living. I'm sorry. I'm just, I do that sometimes. Anyway, look at them. Oh man, what if I was making like this with a gravy? That would be like phenomenal, wouldn't it? Let's get a little closer. Oh, look at those. Oh my goodness. Look at those little beauties. Those little cuties. And look at the meat. The meat is almost, oh wow. They're very tender. So I'm going to let them go on. This one's almost falling apart. So I'm going to let them go for, because I actually flipped them over off camera onto the other side. Well, I'm going to let them go for another hour or two on this medium low. And I'm going to make my, excuse me, my sauce. Let's see, you guys got a good view? Yeah, that's a money shot. So all that's in this pan is about a cup and a half of barbecue sauce. Use any kind of barbecue sauce you have. I mean, I use every kind of barbecue sauce you can think of, barbecue sauces, as long as it's on sale and it's, you know, halfway decent. Not halfway decent, but decent. But I don't just use that brand of barbecue sauce. I use all kinds of brands of barbecue sauce. So whatever brand of barbecue sauce you have on hand. There's also maybe, I would say, about 3 tablespoons of water in here that I use to get, you know, the residue of the barbecue sauce out of the container. So that's it. I've got this orange. Isn't this beautiful? It was like this huge orange. Look how big it was. Look at that huge orange. So I cut it in half. And I'm just going to squeeze the juice of this half of this orange in here. I don't want that. If there's any pulp that gets in there, take that out. You don't want that. If you do not have fresh orange, feel free to use orange juice. I know most of you guys have got some orange juice somewhere in that fridge, or some concentrated orange juice somewhere in that freezer. So use that. And I want this to come to a boil, and I actually want it to get sticky like a glaze and caramelized. I'm not going to add any honey or sugar or anything like that, brown sugar, because this is plenty sweet. You got the sweetness from the barbecue sauce, and then you got that sugary sweetness from this fresh orange. So you don't need any more, you know, of anything. So y'all, I have this heat pretty high, and you just want to stir it a little. If you're using, orange juice out of a, carton or wherever, it's not fresh orange juice, just use the same amount. Like, I would say maybe 3 tablespoons of orange juice should be good. You just want to really get that flavor. But the fresh orange really infuses the flavor. Look at that. It's already, you see those bubbles? That's why you didn't have to add anything. It's caramelizing itself. There's that word again, caramelizing, that I love to use. But see those bubbles? It's becoming a glaze, and that's what you want. And so I'm going to take this opportunity. This orange has been washed off and dry. And I'm going to take that orange that I used to squeeze the juice, and I'm going to do a little bit of orange zest. Please watch your hands, your fingers. Not a lot. You don't want it too intense, but just a little bit of orange zest, fresh orange zest. In there. That's enough. You see that orange zest in there? You can see some on the spoon. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. So you want about that much orange zest. Just a little bit. A couple little shavings of orange zest. Like a less than a teaspoon. Because, lemon and orange zest, and you've already got the orange juice, so you don't want the flavor to be too intense. And I'm going to do, I've got a little onion powder for that. And I've got some seasoning that's salt-free that's got garlic and herb in it. So just a little bit of that. If you have fresh garlic or garlic powder, I do have garlic powder. I'm sorry, I'm out of garlic powder, but I have garlic salt. I'm, of course, not trying to add any more salt to this barbecue sauce. That's enough sodiums in there. Look at that. Look at that sauce. It smells amazing in here. Oh my gosh, it smells like orange carnage. It smells like orange utopia. It smells like an orange had an orgasm in here. It smells so good. Okay, at this point, you can turn it off. So just cook for a few minutes. You want to cook it until it gets, not too thick, but like this consistency, because it's going to continue to thicken up even more. So what's going to happen is, what's going to go down is, this is going to sit here. And my ribs are going to go for, that, that hour that I talked about. And I mean, I've been having a lot of problems with my tripod today. I don't know. And then I used another tripod, and that wasn't working right either. So maybe this is just not my day. But anyway, look at those things. They're so tender. Wait until I plate them, put them in the sauce and let you see, or pour the sauce over them and let you see. Because I probably will just drain this juice and pour that sauce right in there. Or, I don't know. I might plate them and drizzle the sauce in them. I haven't decided yet, but these are really tender little morsels of sexiness. Look at them. They're nice and thick and chunky. got that onion flavor. You've got that salt-free, the herbs from that, the garlic, the onion, all of that. And they've just been hanging out in this juice. This juice that they've made. You know, it's almost like the juice from steak. It's just, this is marvelous. I mean, I'm going to probably take this juice, drain it, and let the fat, you know, come to the top, get that fat off, and then put this in my freezer because this is too valuable to lose. I mean, if I make ribs again in gravy with rice or mashed potatoes, you know, without barbecue sauce, I can use this juice. I don't want to throw this away. But these are beautiful. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let these go another hour and come back, and then it's going to be time for my sauce. I have leftover sides for this. So I have some leftover mac and cheese, and I have some leftover greens. And you see that I should have a blog up for honey cornbread or just cornbread. If not, it's coming soon. But I also made some homemade cornbread, and I made that like Friday. It's Sunday, so I made this Friday. It's nice and tender, sweet, buttery, savory. It's just delicious. So I'm gonna have these orange citrus barbecue ribs, mini ribs, and because I can't even call them short ribs, they're smaller than short ribs. They're like little rib nuggets. But I'm gonna have that with the ribs with the cornbread, the leftover mac and cheese, and the leftover greens. This would be perfect with coleslaw. These ribs, barbecue ribs would be really perfect with a coleslaw, or even a mashed potato, like a cheddar cheese, a smashed potato. If you have like a cauliflower or gratin or something like that, which is something that I'm going to try to make, especially for, what is it, keto diets. So yeah, so let me just let these hang out. I'm going to straighten up, go wash up, take a shower. I might wash my hair. And then I will come back to these ribs because I am going to so be ready to eat and get down and grub. All right, y'all. Be back in an hour. Y'all, these ribs are so tender. The meat is practically falling off the bone. So look at that. I have to be careful with them because they are so tender, but look at that. Look at how tender. Look, see that? See what that's what I'm saying. It's like just almost disintegrating. That's how tender. I wish you could feel it. Look, it is so, look at that. It's so tender. From cooking it for, over 8 hours. So, anyway, there's my sauce. There's that sexy ass sauce. When sexy meat hits sexy sauce, it's going down. I'm going to get these little mini ribs, rib tips. That's what they are. Rib tips. I mean, I'm calling them mini ribs and all that, but little rib tips. Lord, that's so nice. Look at that. Look at that. Let me turn this heat down because I don't want the ribs to just, totally disintegrate. I want them to, get this orange, this sauce that's, infused with the orange zest. Look at that. Look at these little rib tips. You telling me you can't do this at home? You don't even have to know how to cook. And this is so easy. You can do it. You can do it. Make sure that you have made barbecue sauce rain down on all these little rib tips. See how you can see the meat starting to disintegrate? Look at that. That's how freaking tender it is. I'm getting excited. Lord have mercy. Turn this down to the lowest setting. Look at that. Damn, that's sexy. Look at that. Anyway, this is what really made it good and sexy. Is this? See, this is what I mean when I say you don't even need anything expensive. You don't need anything expensive. This little pack of rib tips was, like $6 or $7. It doesn't have a whole bunch of fat, just a little fat on some of them. Barbecue sauce, most likely you already have that in your pantry or your refrigerator. This orange was $1. This big big orange. This big juicy orange. I mean, it put a little more. Look at that. A little more juice. Look how juicy. Look at this big juicy orange. And then, don't forget I use a little of the orange zest as well. But that's all you needed was a little leftover barbecue sauce, some rib tips. You could also do this with pork chops, chicken, perfect with chicken. You could even take some of this glaze and put it over salmon or some other kind of fish. But you could do pork chops just like I did these little rib tips. And, sear the pork chops in the crock pot or pan and let them hang out in the crock pot and let them get nice and tender. Any type of pork, even a pork shoulder, you could do that. And then after you cook it and it's almost falling apart and tender, do this glaze on it. Like, the possibilities are endless. You could do it with big shrimp. Use less sauce and you want to glaze big shrimp. This is so versatile. You could do it, in any kind of way. And, some citrus, a juicy orange. You're so juicy, yeah. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Wow. This is at the lowest setting. You can barely see a flame because I don't want the ribs to, be cooking. I just want them to, warm up and not even really warm up, but just sit in this glaze. And I'm going to turn the heat off. I'm going to heat up my sides. Put the top on here. Well, plate anyway. That's my top. But I'm going to heat up my mac and cheese, heat up my greens, heat up my cornbread. I'm ready for my plate. It just don't get no easier than this. It really don't. It does not get any. Look at. Really? Really? So yeah, I'm going to heat up my sides, figure out what I'm going to drink, whether it's, some Crystal Light tea, the fruit punch, or Diet Coke. Those are my choices to have with this. It's looking like it's going to be the peach tea, but I don't know. It might be Diet Coke. But anyway, y'all know I like to sit down and have the plate, show you how tender this, especially this, I want to show you how tender the meat is once you sit down to eat it. And I want you to make this. If you haven't already made it, most of you who are watching this probably have already made, ribs, rib tips. This is good for especially also portion control. It's not a big, huge rib tips. Instead of, a whole rib, you can get a couple of these and, you know, you're not eating a ton of meat if you don't want a ton of meat. But like I said, you could do this, you could have this with, mashed potatoes, scalloped potatoes, or gratin potatoes. You could have it with, what is it? Cauliflower and broccoli mash, or gratin with cheese, a seasoned rice, corn on the cob. Just snack on this. Come on. Anyway, yeah, let me go make my plate and not make my plate, heat up the sides and make my plate and sit down to eat. It is Sunday. It is about 5:17. It really should be, sorry, 6:17. It really should be 5:17, but we've lost an hour. That hour that we've lost has really messed me up today. So maybe it wasn't my tripod. I was complaining about the tripod earlier. Maybe it's just been me because I haven't been right since that hour got taken away and I got up this morning. But anyway, and it always takes me a while to adjust. When we gain an hour, when we lose an hour. But when we lose the hour, I really need time to adjust. So yeah, I'm gonna get these sides together and come back with this sexy ass pan of little rib tips. All right, be back soon.